The following presentation of City Cinematheque was made possible, in part, by the support of the Taipei Cultural Center in New York, the Ministry of Culture of Taiwan. Welcome to City Cinematheque, where the art and pleasure of the movies are the subject of serious discussion. I'm your host, Jerry Carlson, and I teach film studies at the City College of the City University of New York. Today, it's our pleasure to be presenting one of the films of the great Taiwanese cinema of the 21st century. Today's film is The Road to Mandalay. Now, it's a migration story about the young people who try to get from Myanmar, known to many of us as Burma, to Taiwan with a stop-off in Thailand. In fact, this is a film that never makes it to Taiwan, but is about that desire. And it's a very powerful film about migration and young people in the world. After today's screening, it's our great pleasure to have with us the director of the film, Midi. And don't be surprised if you don't see me in the studio, because I will be chatting with him in Taipei City, Taiwan. Now, enjoy the award-winning The Road to Mandalay. Welcome back to City Cinematheque. And as I promised, we would be returning, but not to the studios of CUNY TV, but here on set in Taipei City, Taiwan. You've just had the opportunity to see an extraordinarily powerful film about migration, and it's a pleasure to have with us for the next 30 minutes the director of that film, Midi. Midi, thank you. I know you're in post-production now on a new film. Thank you for making time to be with us.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Great. So we're making a series here about Taiwanese filmmakers. We're shooting this interview in Taiwan. Yet, this is a film that doesn't take place in Taiwan. It begins in Burma. It takes place really in Thailand, yet the characters have this desire to get to Taiwan. So for people who don't know anything about your background, why this subject? Why Burma and Thailand and Taiwan?
Yes. Because I was born in Burma, Myanmar. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yes, when I was 16, I came to Taiwan for studying Chinese. So, in my family, we have a lot of siblings, like my eldest sister and my second eldest brother. Both of them, they, sneaking to Thailand.
Okay.
And the reason is that time is not easy directly from Burma to Taiwan. So of the Chinese descendant of us, we prefer move to sneak into Thailand, and then by Thailand, it could be more easier to Taiwan. It's like that, yes.
Okay, so this is actually a story that really very much comes out of observation of exactly this process, and even in your own family.
Of course, not the dramatic point of the story from my siblings, but most of the detail in the film is, came from my brothers and sisters, their life experience when they were working in a Thailand factory. Oh. Yes, but the main story actually is, it was happened in 1992. It was my village. There was a couple. They went to Thailand, and then they stayed Thailand maybe 3 years. And after that, they fall in love. They came back to Burma in my village. They got married, and then just 3 days after their wedding party, the husband killed the wife.
Wow.
We don't know why. We didn't know why that time. I was very little.
Right.
And people almost like discussing about, the girl trying to go back to Thailand again, and the boy doesn't want her to go back. That's why, after using drugs, the boy killed the girl. Yeah, that's the true story. Original happened in 1992 in my village.
Okay. So this is a work that's deeply researched in the sense that many people. It's centered in this one particular, the dramatic line in this one particular story as the inspiration. I'm so very interested in how strong a sense we have of this experience, that wherever we go, we feel that we are with these characters in this particular environment. And it strikes me that your choice of locations, just let me give you one. When they first get to Bangkok, when they're dropped off, that's a terrible place to be dropped off. But that's exactly the point. So many of your locations are so evocative. So tell me about how you design, think about where the characters will be and what that can tell us about them.
For me, for filmmaking or telling a story, the location for me is the most important thing. Yeah. And because those characters, the location, the circumstance, the environment is limit them. They can't go anywhere, except the location, like block them. Like those migrants, like they cross the border and they took very long journey from the border, like 2 nights, 1 day to Bangkok, and someone they have relative want to pick them up, but someone they had any relatives. Those people they can only go to a factory who needs like migrants illegally, workers like them. So for me, before shooting the film, after the script, actually I used to do a lot of research, a lot of scouts for the locations. For the road to Mandalay, we did like 1 month only for location scout.
Okay.
Yes, so we traveled from the Burma side border, like follow the storyline, follow the location from the border, cross the river, and then take the bus, and then going to Bangkok, and then find the real factory who still work,
Right.
the machine which made in maybe late 80s like that. So we found a factory, they are still using Castel, old machine was made in 1972 like that.
Wow.
So those elements, those realistic elements, quite interesting for me. So during the scouting, I also rewrite some part of the story and then to shoot it. Yeah, location for me is very important. Yeah.
Well, let me just compliment you on the extraordinary, I think, first shot of the film, because we have this tranquil river. We don't know why we're there for the first several seconds, but it's as if that first shot has a complete story arc to it, because are we just in a place of nature, then all of a sudden back in the frame we see the people come, and then all of a sudden by the time we get to the other side and in the trunk, an entire story has developed. And so I find this really quite characteristic of your storytelling method, that there's so many elements that will go into a single shot. After you found an evocative location and shot, you weave so many story elements into it.
Yes, like the first scene of the river actually is the rear branch of the river from the rear, like a border river, Mekong River. And when we found the place, I felt, it's, very important to shoot, to put the character because our story like very dramatic.
Yes.
It's not realistic, but I really need the realistic location, very real border to take the character inside in to make me feel more confidence. Yes, like that. So the first shot for me is like to driven
Right.
audience into the realistic place. Maybe the river is very narrow. It's not like our imagination. Okay, the border may be very dangerous, maybe dark like that. It's not like this. In the reality, mostly Burma, Thailand, we have long distance border. Some border is just very thin line. We just
Right.
cross it, and your life will be changed a lot. It's like that. That's why I put such kind of realistic, but for audience maybe it's surrealistic.
Absolutely.
To tell a story at the beginning.
Right. And I'm also thinking of something like just the conditions we know our protagonist has arrived in. Once she gets to the apartment in Bangkok, you have that, I think, extraordinary scene of people just having their rice, their noodles, yet you, with extreme storytelling economy, introduce so many threads that you're going to develop later in the story.
Yes, actually, when the actress, the role, Lian Qing,
Lian Qing.
the character, she arrived at the apartment. They are eating instant noodle.
Yeah, exactly.
It's instant noodle because for those people, their place is very narrow. They don't have, huge place to make dishes. And the instant noodle for them is most, convenient dish for them.
Right.
And after 2 nights, journey, so they always treat people with instant noodle. That's why instant noodle in the whole film, they always eat that. Yeah, it's very cheap. It's very quick. Yeah, it's very suitable for those lower class people living.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And it's also, there's this, one of the things, there's a whole motif of noodles and offering people noodles.
Yes.
in the film. I mean, again, later when they arrive in the countryside, getting the first set of papers, there's the thing of, oh, can we offer you noodles? And it's a kind of false hospitality, because wait, why are they being nice? Are they being nice because they're doing something they shouldn't be, tricking them in some way?
For me, it's like our tradition, you know, especially in Asia, especially for Yunnan Chinese, especially for Burmese. Even though, are bad guys or, good guys, we don't separate it like that in the film. All of the guys, all of the character, all of the people in the film, in the story, they are all good. They are all human beings. They just try to make their living. They even don't know or realize they are doing something good or bad, for others. So when the people they arrive for making some fake document, they also, make noodle for them, because after their long journey, it's the early morning, after midnight, they may be hungry. That's why it's quite, quite usual to treat them noodle. Yeah, it's not like, okay, we are doing bad thing for them. We are, asking money, making fake document to them. That's why we should treat them better. It's not like this.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, no, but I think you've made a very good point about the way you seem to always think about characters, and that is, you think about them not as characters in a game, but as human beings.
Yes.
For example, we meet in the film officials who, in some formal way, are corrupt.
Yes.
But they're not treated as villainous, corrupt officials. They're one of the issues is, how do you make a living as an official in the countryside? And so, how does this work in terms of your casting, because you mix your cast between professionals and non-professionals.
Yeah, in the road to Mandalay, actually, we only had 2 professional actors, the leading actress Wu Kexi and the leading actor Kai Ko. They are both Taiwanese, they are not Burmese, but at the beginning we trained them like 1 year.
Oh.
Yeah, we brought them to Burma to interview the real refugee or real workers came back from Thailand. Like that, we like let them feel what is the real, character really happen in the, in the country, like that, in the reality. And then we train them to learning the dialect,
Okay.
yeah, Burmese, yeah, and Thai, and then we put them in the real factory, living with the real, workers, like 3 months. After that, we start to shoot the film like that. But except the 2 actors, all of the actors in the film, they are all non-professional. One of the actors, like, he is my brother. He's my actor's second actor's brother. Yeah, he had the same experience like those illegally migrants, but now he's illegal in Thailand. Yeah, and we also found like 100 extra. They are real Burmese. Yeah, in the film like that. So for me, it's very important, like to bring into those realistic elements, and the actor, of course, they are the most important, should be very realistic. Those things can make me feel more confidence to tell a dramatic story, but with very realistic process.
Absolutely, but I'm absolutely amazed that they spent, and it shows on the screen that they spent these 3 months there, because I think we feel they know everything about this place, and some people think you can learn that very rapidly, but the camera captures so much. It captures all the subtlety, and I think by that training you captured all the subtlety of their relationship with the environment. So I think one of the things that many people will be asking about the film, a very powerful scene, a scene in which you choose to break with realism,
Yes.
and that's the scene with the lizard. So talk to us about why you made that decision. It's a very powerful scene. It's a scene that no one, I think, will ever forget in terms of images. How did you come to construct it or think of it that way?
Actually, the lizard scene, for most of the viewers, the audience, yeah, you may think those things is very surrealistic,
Right.
compared to the rest part of the whole film is very like realistic.
Right.
But for me, it's very realistic.
Okay.
Because this point for me is come from the reality. During training those actors, we put them in the real dormitory with those workers,
Right.
and there's a river beside the dormitory,
Okay.
worker dormitory. And one day I got a message from my actress, and he sent a photo to me, because every morning, like this huge lizard trying to climb up the window inside the room, into the room. That's why I was very surprised. Oh, what is this? I haven't seen it before in Burma, even though in Thailand.
Right.
And I Googled it, and I read some news. I got it. Okay, it's lizard. It's quite, usual in Thailand, especially in some, like urban,
Right.
remote region,
Right.
remote place, and those lizards, actually normally they are very nice. They don't attack people, but I don't know why. The lizard every morning, it trying to, climb up the window into
Right.
the room. And I Googled it again, and I read a news is about a lizard, in a factory. It break into the room and bite a guest's leg
Wow.
during the guest taking shower, like that.
Wow.
So I read it, and suddenly I go, okay, I will put it into my script, because that time I'm trying to rewrite something which is very difficult, like the prostitution.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for me it's very like cruel to put a girl real with a man, to be prostitutes.
Right.
So for me, I suddenly I got the idea. Okay, I want to make it more into like a surrealistic, but based on very realistic way, like that. Yeah.
Well, you're in, as we say, you're in very good company, because when they would always ask the great writer Gabriel Garcia Marquez about his magical realism, he would say, you should de-emphasize the magical, because all of this really is real. This
Yes.
comes out of my culture. This
Yes.
is the experience. This is the experience of my people. So let's talk a little bit about the future. So what are you working on now? What kinds is your next work an extension of this set of interests, or is it something different? What's going on now, Midi?
Of course, I will be continuous to make film about my background, my life experience. I think an artist always follow our life experience, our culture, our feeling to tell the story. But right now, I have just finished a film totally shot in Taiwan. Nothing belongs to Burma.
Okay.
Burmese is about a girl trying to climb up to the upper class, and she want to be an actress, and she faced some trouble like that. It's a journey film, it's a thriller, it's a horror, but it's about a girl trying to be an actress. It's not originally written by me, it's written by an actress who came to ask me to make it, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I if I can just humbly say, the film we've just seen is about a young woman who is also trying to transform herself.
Yes.
And so I could almost say, well, what happens if she did come to the city and she would still have to try
Yes.
to make it in some
Yeah.
way?
Yes.
They're just different problems of making it.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. What's your hope for Taiwanese filmmaking in the 21st century? What would you want for Taiwanese filmmaking?
For me, Taiwan is especially for freedom. We don't have any censorship for the script. We don't have any censorship for release the film. So we can do anything we want. That's the most important thing for filmmakers. And of course, we have some limits, like the market is very narrow, and now we are very comfortable. Sometimes comfortable for artists is not so good. We are always try to struggle, from the reality. So comfortable, I think, is our limit. And the market maybe is limit, but for me it's not. Yeah. But for me, I'm very positive, to see our future. Yeah, because we have the most freedom, to do what we want.
Well,
Yeah,
I think freedom is an extremely good note
Yes.
to end on, Midi. I want to thank you for taking time. I know you're very busy with post-production, so it's very special to have you here today to comment upon Road to Mandalay. It's a real privilege, Midi.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
Great. And I want to thank you for joining us today for our screening of Road to Mandalay and this special opportunity to chat with Midi, the director. And I want to encourage you to continue tuning in to City Cinematheque as we continue in the future to stroll through the archives of film history. But for now, it's goodbye. The preceding presentation of City Cinematheque was made possible, in part, by the support of the Taipei Cultural Center in New York, the Ministry of Culture of Taiwan.